Let's get started!
There's no new chapter this week. Hey Miss Mindlayer, why is there no new chapter this week?
Everyone's busy, including myself.
Yeah, I can see that.
Clever, comrade. I have an idea. Seems on except
No deadline, we are not gonna do that. I wonder what good rant video we can— oh, would you look at that? A Vigilantes rant video I made long ago. This'll do for this week. Now before we start, let's talk a bit about Vigilantes first. It's MHA's lesser known spin-off series. It was said to be a very good manga, absolutely destroying MHA in terms of writing quality. Every comment about it is positive. MHA fans love it, MHA haters love it, even MHA YouTube ranters love it. But if it's supposed to be that good and flawless, then why do very few people even bother to read it, talk about it, nor even know about it? Now you might be wondering, why the f would I make a Vigilantes related rant video when barely anyone even cared about it in the first place? That's because I don't know what to upload this week. That's because I f***ing love ranting. Okay, let's begin. For this video we are just gonna do something simple. Compare the main protagonists of MHA and Vigilantes, Falcon and Slider respectively. People normally say Slider's far better than Falcon. Let's see if that's true. Let the comparison begin. Round 1. Physical appearance. Let's start with Falcon first. Falcon's got that pretty boy look going for him, with his huge eyes and messy green hair. And because of this he's extremely popular to the female fans. As for his hero costume, it's defined, well thought of, and simple all at the same time. It's not too sleek, it's not too bulky, and it gets the job done. Overall, Falcon is very distinct, and that's good for a main character. Meanwhile Slider lacks any distinctive physical traits. No wacky hair, no fancy hair color, no cool looking mutations. His vigilante suit is literally just a Superman hoodie with a few add-ons. As a whole he's just an average looking person. Falcon easily wins round 1. Round 2. Personality. Both are generic good guys. Falcon likes Katsudon, Slider likes hoodies, and both like Superman. It's a tie. Round 3. Quirks. Falcon's got an extremely overpowered quirk. This is okay if the villains can scale well with it. But no. Falcon's punches beat everything in the MHA universe. From simple sword-bearing serial killers, to a delusional megalomaniac who can reflect anything. There's no thought needed, no tactics required, no planning involved. He just overloads his enemies with punches and he wins, and that's basically all of Falcon's fights. In fact, he's become so overpowered that in the final battle the plot had to force him to waste time just flying around. Or else he'll end the entire thing within seconds. Meanwhile, Slider is the exact opposite. His quirk is so weak that 90% of his fights are just him either getting beat up, or sliding away because he's about to get beat up. He only wins if he has his teammates with him. But even then he still oftentimes engage villains alone, because he's an idiot. In fact he's so weak that in the final battle the plot had to give him numerous power-ups just to keep up with his ever-evolving enemy. If you want to see for yourself how many power-ups he got, just read the Vigilantes manga from chapter 101 all the way to the end of the fight at around chapter 126. I counted at least 15 ass-pull power-ups, it's so f***ing ridiculous. As for this round, no one wins. Round 4. Talent and special skills. Falcon's good at analyzing hero stuff. But he doesn't actually use his notes because he can just punch his way to victory with his overpowered quirk. Meanwhile Slider has no useful talents nor skills because he's primarily intended to be as normal and average as possible. Keeping his apartment clean does not count as a skill. At least Falcon has the notes thing going for him, so he wins round 4. Round 5. Goals and motivation. Falcon wants to become a hero so he can help people. Slider wants to become a hero too so he can help people. Although he never became a hero until the finale, but that didn't stop him from still helping people to the best of his abilities. It's a tie.
Both? Both. Both. Both is good.
Round 6. Hardships and challenges. As for Falcon, he doesn't really face any actual hardships. His school life is fine. His life outside of heroics is fine. He has no weaknesses except fake ones. He's never challenged, physically and mentally. His quirk is beyond overpowered. The villains are beyond weak. Hell, even the final boss is so f***ing weak compared to him that it got utterly demolished within seconds. And as for his extra stockpiled quirks within OFA, he can instantly master them when the plot demands it. The closest thing Falcon got for a challenge are the months-long training for OFA and the first days of school. And those are pretty much it. Meanwhile, we have Slider. Just like Falcon, he also has no challenges for the majority of the manga. This is because unlike other Vigilantes characters, Slider doesn't even have any real challenges to overcome, which is typical of blank slate protagonists. The closest thing Slider got for a challenge is the final fight. But even then, that doesn't really count as a challenge because, like I said before, the plot kept saving him and giving him an absurd amount of random power-ups. Both get no points. Round 7. Character development. Falcon started out as your usual generic good guy, and in the end he's still your generic good guy. People thought he would undergo massive character development during the Dark Falcon era. But no. He just went back to regular Falcon. Slider, on the other hand, started out as a loser. But during the final parts of the Vigilantes manga, he's given an absurd amount of power-ups out of nowhere, ending with him turning into an ultra-powerful hero who can catch planes. His zero to hero development involved massive amounts of Aspal cheating and Deus Ex Machinas, and I don't like Aspal cheatings and Deus Ex Machinas. Both get no points. Round 8. Backstory. Falcon as a kid wanted to be a hero. Yet despite fully knowing he's quirkless, he never once trained himself to make up for his lack of powers. He didn't even lift a single weight until he got chosen to receive OFA. Meanwhile, Slider was once late to a hero school entrance exam. That's why he's kicked out and became a vigilante. Yet he never applied to other hero schools after that, for absolutely no reason at all. Both get no points. Overall, Falcon and Slider are polar opposites of each other in almost every way. In Falcon's case, the story is too centered around him, especially later into the manga. He gets all the cool fights, he gets all the cool toys, he gets all the cool abilities and powers, while the vast majority of the cast get almost nothing. He's always the most important person, the focus is always on him, all of his plans work, he's always in the right, he's never challenged. He didn't even stop at one quirk either, and got several more. He's the ultimate power fantasy. It's almost as if the creator is afraid of giving him a single flaw or else people might dislike him. On the other hand, Slider is an incredibly boring character with no interesting traits at all. Literally every other Vigilantes character, from Pop-Tart Droid Max Captain Freedom McCree Rated R Guy Jiggle Bro Chungus Defective Deflective even Six and Stinger have something going for them. And Slider has none. He's basically just a side character in his own manga, he barely does anything and he mostly just sticks to other characters with their own plots. And act as a side character for them. Yeah, he's a competent team player, but the amount of scenes portraying him as a massive loser is way more. In fact, Slider is underwhelming for over 80% of the entire Vigilantes manga. That's why when the final arc rolled in, his power fantasy levels are suddenly ramped up, so that at least he can get to do something before it all ends. Suddenly he's in the middle of a love triangle, and he can now pull never before seen abilities out of nowhere. For short, he's suddenly God mode, just like Falcon. As a whole, think of both Falcon and Slider as this graph. Everything is just stable all the way into the finale, where Falcon suddenly had to be strategically removed in the final fight because he's too overpowered, while Slider had to get numerous power-ups because he spent the majority of the story being useless. Total polar opposites. Now that I covered their major key differences, it's time to ask the main question. Who is the better character? Seeing Falcon having 2 points over Slider's 0, the answer is obvious. Falcon has better character design and writes on his notebook. And that's basically his entire winning formula, because both aren't really well written characters anyway. Now before we end, Let me talk about Slider for a bit. People kept saying he's a far better character than Falcon. And yet I still can't see that even though I already read Vigilantes 2 times now. His everyman antics put me to sleep. He's extremely boring. Nothing is about him. Both villains aren't directly connected to him. He's too much of a loser. And I didn't once feel like he's a vigilante in the first place. But then again it could just be me. Because I don't really like intentional blank slate protagonists like Slider. While Falcon may be godlike and overpowered, at least he felt more like a main character than Slider ever did.
Which means he was deemed worthy of being called a true hero.
Deadline, don't move. Slider's right behind you.
Where?
Oh, now he's gone.
Clever comrade. He's on your back.
Damn, I missed. It seems he's trying to attach himself to us. As if we have a plot of our own.
We don't.
Of course we don't. This is not a Megamind video. We don't have a side story happening here.
When is he going to leave?
He'll leave when the video ends. And the video will end. Right. Now.
Whoa!
See, I told you he'll leave.